When plaque forms, it forms inside the artery wall, not on the inner lining of the artery. However, the process that leads to plaque development does start with the inner lining of the artery, which is called the endothelia. When the cells that line the artery multiply or grow in number, the body has to give these new cells a blood supply. That blood supply does not come from the blood in the artery. It comes from the arteries that supply the artery wall with blood. These arteries are called the vasa vasorum. When the vasa vasorum starts to grow new arteries to supply the growing endothelial cells with blood, these new arteries are not fully formed at first, and they start to leak blood. They leak blood right into the intima layer of the artery wall. When blood is no longer flowing in the tube of an artery, it becomes stagnant. This stagnant blood clots in the artery wall. This is what we call plaque, and research has shown that plaque is made up of 87% clotting tissue. If the endothelial cells continue to multiply and grow, this process continues and plaque gets bigger and bigger. So the answer to how do we prevent plaque is how do we prevent the cells that line the artery from multiplying? Well, there are a few things that have been shown to cause these cells to start to multiply. Research has shown that physical damage to the artery lining can cause this. There are many things that have been shown to damage the artery lining. Things like heavy metals, herbicides and pesticides, plastics, endotoxins, the list goes on and on. Research has also shown that the multiplication of the cells that line the artery happens when blood is not moving as well as it should be. It becomes stagnant or sludgy. When this happens, the cells start to multiply in order to narrow the tube of the artery so blood will move quicker. So the real question we should be asking to avoid the development of plaque in arteries is how do we prevent artery damage and maintain adequate blood flow? The answer is to avoid toxin exposures to prevent that damage, and to build structured water on the artery walls to protect the artery and keep blood moving. Infrared light has been shown to build structured water on the artery walls, and research has shown that this phenomenon protects the arteries and creates blood flow. This all makes sense because life is supposed to live outside in the infrared light of the sun all day long. The indoor way of life we live as humans has led to decreased infrared light exposure. This is one of the main aspects of our modern way of life that correlates directly with our rise in heart disease rates. And there you have it, an explanation of plaque with no need for the C word.